And of course it's not applicable in a fight. You know, I've heard people talk about you need to intercept them with exactly this angle on your elbow, and it's helpful to do it at a 33-degree angle to their arm coming in or something like that. I can only assume that guys who talk like that have never been in a fight in their lives, because anyone who's been in a fight knows that when you stop punches coming in, you don't really have time to get exactly the right degree or angle or anything like that. That's not what fighting's about. And if you train to do that, it just makes you ineffective. I remember, like, one of my first lessons, it must have been, I was watching the instructor there, and for some reason this stuck in my mind. I was watching him do, I think it was a Gansao actually, and I thought to myself, okay, I'm going to watch this really closely, because I was impressed with the guy. He could do stuff and I hadn't really seen Kung Fu before, and he just seemed super powerful, and I thought it must be the shapes he's doing. I couldn't think of any other reason, you know, so I didn't believe it was magic. And so I thought, I'm going to watch exactly where his arm's going, and if I move through that exact same line, then I'm doing exactly the same thing, so it must work. And any problem will be a lack of strength or physical conditioning or something, or, you know, practice, which I can work on. And so I spent a lot of time making sure that my fingertip and my hand and the shape looked exactly the same as the guy who was teaching me. And if you superimpose my image on his, you probably wouldn't have seen my image. I was exactly in his. Now, so I thought I had it so that everything works just right. And I spent a lot of time getting these shapes exactly how they should be. You know, I thought I was just tidying things up. Then when I got to Hong Kong, one of the things that Sigung said was, as soon as you've got the shapes, you should forget about the shapes and just concentrate on the feeling, which I still thought, okay, well, you need to have everything perfect, as far as it's not going to work. If a Gansao goes like that, there's something magical about that, which I couldn't work out. But if I do this, then it won't work, but the perfect one will. So when I first got to Hong Kong, nothing worked at all, and I had kids coming up and holding their arms up. I couldn't move them, and they'd throw me around the room, and little old ladies doing the same thing to me, you know, like middle-aged ladies. I was in my 20s when I first got to Hong Kong, and there'd be ladies, you know, twice my age, coming up and still giving me a really hard time, and half my weight. So what happened was, Sigung was trying to actually get me to do the Gansao, and he did this thing where he puts his hand there out in front, and for a normal person, even if you've not got Kung Fu skill, you can push the hand down because the leverage is really difficult. But Sigung would do that, and it was just like resting your arm on a concrete wall. It was just, there was no give, there was no nothing was working. And then I can remember this really clearly, going through this dialogue with him through a translator, where there was no translation required really. He was saying fung sung repeatedly, which means relax, let go. And I can remember thinking, well, I am relaxed, I'm not using force. I thought, you know, to me, I was relaxed. And I thought, okay, well, this is going to work. If I just need to relax more, nothing happened. And I thought, there must be something wrong with the translation. When he says relax completely, I still thought, well, you know, you've got to move your arm, so it's not relaxed completely. So I thought, I'll show him what happens if I just relax completely. So he's standing there like this, like that, and I've been trying for, it's probably 2 minutes, but it felt like an hour trying to move his arm. And I said, and I thought, okay, I'm just going to stop doing anything. I'm just going to let my arm fall like so. I'm going to say, and we'll start from that, and then he can adjust me the other way. So we can, you know, obviously he doesn't understand, or the translator's not getting it through what I should do. So I thought, I'll just let my arm rest on his, I'll stop doing stuff. And when I did that, boom, it worked. And so I got, yes, that's right. And it was a revelation to me that you can't just relax and do that. You have to have other skills. But once you've got a certain amount of skill, it is completely relaxed. That's the thing. And from that moment on, I realised that I'd misunderstood everything. I'd been in schools where there was, the instructors would be going around and you'd be doing the form, and the way they would help you is they'd come up and they'd grab your finger and just move it, you know, 3 millimetres towards your centre or away, or they'd grab your elbow and put it here, or here. And, you know, you'd be thinking, oh, okay, that's the one, I've got to remember that. The harder you try and control that, the more you think my elbow's got to be here, the more wrong you are, because you're holding your elbow in a certain position. When my fingertips here and my shoulders here, if I'm relaxed, if this was a piece of rope, it would fall to a certain position. It might go to another position, but it doesn't matter. The important thing is it's relaxed. And generally the right position will be as if someone just held your hand up like that and you did nothing, and just kept your spine straight. Completely relax your arms and legs, keep your spine straight, sort of fixes everything. So what I realised was that all this time I'd spent trying to get things just right had no meaning, and of course it's not applicable in a fight. You know, I've heard people talk about you need to intercept them with exactly this angle on your elbow, and it's helpful to do it at a 33-degree angle to their arm coming in or something like that. I can only assume that guys who talk like that have never been in a fight in their lives, because anyone who's been in a fight knows that when you stop punches coming in, you don't really have time to get exactly the right degree or angle or anything like that. That's not what fighting's about. And if you train to do that, it just makes you ineffective.